Hello and welcome to this Pine News special report. We're going to talk about a little bit about Long Island Railroad ridership, and we're going to look over the charts that they provided as well as some of my own charts to show the changes that have gone on in ridership. Some of it is to be expected. Some of it's actually, some of the information surprised me a little bit. One of the notable things I want to make is that ridership's increased, on all the branches generally, but at certain times in the PM rush, ridership's gone down on certain branches, and some of the branches I'm kind of surprised about. But that may be due to service. It may be due to a lot of things, economically speaking. Some big differences, decreases on the Long Beach branch, no doubt probably due to Sandy, and also major gains on the Oyster Bay branch, which actually don't surprise me that much because I think the Oyster Bay branch has gained a lot of riders since NICE took over. So this is in the past 3 years, the changes that have occurred. Because let's face it, NICE is not as reliable, it's not as frequent, and people are tired of the ghetto experience of riding NICE bus and app for the train instead for a little more, including yours truly. So let's get to the numbers, let's get to the charts. Okay, so we are going to be looking at some data comparing the 2015 ridership to the 2012 ridership. The 2012 ridership book is on your left, and the 2015 ridership book is on your right. Now, there are some differences, of course, but I want to go over some of the charts here. I did this a little while ago, but I want to do it again, so we're going to go ahead and now scroll down on the 2012 ridership book, and we're going to take a look at some of these bar charts here. You should be able to see pretty easily here. Hopefully you can see them pretty easily. Let's see, maybe I should enlarge this a little bit. I don't know. Well, I could do that. Alright, well, this is, you can see that there's generally been an increase in ridership on almost all the branches on the daily branch travel. Alright, increase in ridership, and I'll go ahead and I'll make the 2015 one a little larger so you can see again that there has been an increase in ridership. It's gone from 6,400 on the Babylon. I'm not going to go over all this. I hope you can see the numbers. I hope you can. Let me make this window a little smaller so you'll be able to see it a little better, because I still think it's a little too large and you're not going to be able to see things properly, so just give me a second here. Alright, the only proper way I'm going to be able to do this video is going to have to be in high definition aspect because of the way this is set up. So again, you can see ridership increases on all the branches east of Jamaica, and we're going to scroll down a little more here. And that's east of Jamaica, and just, you can take a look at the differences yourself and see here. You're going to have to use the high definition aspect because otherwise it's going to look kind of crazy. Alright, so you can see here it's definitely gone up on all the branches significantly here. Babylon branch has seen pretty large increases in ridership. Again, the Babylon branch has seen pretty large increases in ridership, you can see according to these charts. And of course, I'll provide the link below to the 2015 ridership report, which you can see and view at your own time. All right. This video is going to be more about the changes, the differences, particularly in crowding and AMP customers. This is AMP customers total on all the branches here. And you can see that the Babylon branch has increased and the Ronkonkoma branch has increased. They all have pretty much increased on the AMP customers. But like I said, the most interesting part to me is the customers per train. And again, 2012 is on your left and 2015 is on your right. And you can see that of the four major branches, that the green there, the dark green, the forest green, the Babylon, these are the four major branches, the Babylon trains are the least crowded per train. Alright, doesn't mean they still carry a lot of people, but they have the most service, so they have the least crowding of the four major branches. And of course, the poor folks on the Ronkonkoma branch are the most crowded, and they've gotten more crowded in some ways. Alright, now we're going to look at the PM peak. Try to get this as even as possible so you can see here. The PM peak, again, you've seen increases. The ridership's gone up quite a bit, but there's interesting little disturbance here that's disturbing little thing that's going on in the Ronkonkoma branch, that the ridership's actually gone down slightly in the PM peak, which leads me to believe, at least, that people have gotten fed up with the service on the Ronkonkoma branch and have gone to the Babylon branch, and that's basically what's going on. And of course, the Babylon branch towns, a lot of them are now making it difficult for people to park. I mean, Deer Park is a huge lot, but most of the free lots are on the Ronkonkoma line, not on the Babylon branch, and that's a problem because the Babylon branch has better service, and they should have free parking, in my opinion. There should be free parking. It should be first come, first serve. Get rid of this resident permit bullshit and all the other stuff. All right, but we're going to look at the average customers per train now. All right, average customers per train, and as you can see in the PM, Ronkonkoma train, the Ronkonkoma trains are still the most crowded, followed by the Huntington, followed by the Port Washington, and of course on the the Babylon of the four major branches is the least amount of crowding. And it's actually, the crowding has actually gone down substantially on the Babylon branch in the past 3 years, from 751 people per train to 734 people per train. So now we're going to look at the reverse commute. Now in the reverse commute, you'll see here, Babylon has 9 eastbound trains in the reverse. Huntington has 5. Ronkonkoma has 6. And we're going to look at the numbers here from 2012. They've actually, surprisingly, have gone down a little on the Ronkonkoma line. And they've gone down a little bit on some of these lines here. Huntington's gone up a little bit. Port Jefferson's gone up. Port Washington has gone up, but I'm surprised at some of these numbers. There have been increases in ridership, but at certain times, reverse peak, and that's probably because of the limited service that is available during the reverse peak, and that is a big problem. And the Huntington reverse peak has gone down too, so you can look at the numbers yourself. Babylon's gone up. Ronkonkoma has gone up in the PM. But again, the limited service, again, means you're limiting the amount of riders that are taking it. When you increase service, you increase the amount of riders, and that's going to be shown a little later, all right? So I'm not going to go through all of this. We're going to look at the Saturday branch travel next. And the actually biggest, the Saturday numbers have gone up on a lot of these branches as well, Ronkonkoma, but there's been big increases on the Port Washington branch on Saturday, and then Sunday in particular. So ridership's going up across the system, but there's certain areas it's going down in. Saturday branch travel, customers per train. You can see the most crowded by far the Ronkonkoma. And the Port Washington trains have gone down in crowding because they used to be once an hour in 2012, and now they are every half an hour. And meanwhile, ridership has gone up, which there's a direct correlation to increasing service and increasing ridership. Now look at the Sunday. And you'll see Sunday has seen pretty big increases on the Port Washington because, again, half-hourly service, more people taking the train, but the train is less crowded. I mean, the trains were overcrowded when they were running hourly, and that's why the ridership went down. This is the theory. When you decrease service, you lose riders, and I think Nice Bus should be paying attention to this. Excuse me. Allergies. But when you decrease service, you lose riders, and when you add service, you gain riders. All right. And then Sunday branch travel here. You can see gains on all the branches again, but average customer per train. All right, I'm sorry, the crowding. This is the crowding. All right, now I think that's going to be all the bar charts I want to do comparisons with now. So what I think we're going to go to now is we're going to go to the 2015. I'm going to close this up here. We're going to just make the 2015 one bigger. All right. And we're going to look at some of the overcrowded trains. These are the trains that are exceeding 90% seating capacity. So let me just zoom this in a little bit so you can see that a little better. These are the trains that are exceeding 90% seating capacity. And most of them, not surprisingly, are Huntington trains, Ronkonkoma trains, and quite a few Port Washington trains on there as well. And of course Babylon has a very low amount of overcrowded trains, but they do have some as well, as you can see according to this chart. So, alright, I actually did want to bring you the tables for the customers on each trains and just do a little comparisons here. I don't even know if you're going to be able to read this. I'm just going to go over this for like a couple of minutes here, and then we'll get to the charts, I promise. Basically these show all the trains here that are on schedule to run, and which ones are the most crowded. Your average. Look at all the flyers. This is the Babylon branch. I just want to again point out to you all the flyers they get. They get a ton of flyers here. But as far as ridership on those flyers goes, it's remained fairly constant, but maybe some of them have gone down a little bit. Let's see here. The 656 flyer, which carried 700, and see how low the ridership numbers on these flyers are, and now it carries 670, so it's gone down a little bit. The Atlantic trains have gone up, which reflects the Wall Street people because they love those trains. And you got a whole bunch more flyers here. Let's see some of the busy ones. Let's see 710. Let's do train 1015 here. That's gone from 1090 to 1020. Oh no, that's gone from. Whoa. Wait, hold on a minute. 1015. Where's 1015 here? All right. Wow, it's gone down. 1015. Train 1015 used to carry 1090. Now it carries 980. So there's been some decreases here on the Babylon branch that I hope you can be able to see here. But looking at these charts, you may have to make this window bigger, or this video bigger, or whatever to see. You can look in here and see yourself. I mean, there's so much data here to go through that it's hard to go through everything. But generally, the gist I'm getting is that ridership in the peak AM is slightly down on the Babylon branch, which is pretty much reflects what I've been seeing. Alright, so I'm going to scroll through here. There's probably a better way to view this with this thing, but I don't know how. This is off-peak here. The tables are a little different size, so it's making things a little confusing, I guess. Yeah, we'll just go right here. Eastbound train. Alright, yeah. Eastbound. Alright, you compare here. I don't know, you can look at it yourself and see. Let's go into the peak here. Alright, this is where it's interesting. Alright, so in the peak, I said I'd only spend a few minutes on that. I just want to take a look at some certain flyers, like the 6L5, for instance. 2012, the 6L5 carried 930 people, and now the 6L5, where is it? Why don't I see it here? They have it as 606. It carries 970, so it's actually gained some riders. Okay. 610, 640, 630, the 5, there's a flyer here for the 536, 1080. That one is crowded. That's the one that goes to Seaford. And that is, on here is 542. No, that's not right. That is not right. That's a,
That doesn't carry that few people. I don't know where it is on here. That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense. How could how could the ridership on that flyer drop from 960 to? All right, well, just look at the train numbers. That's where I'm getting a problem. Okay, let me plug the train numbers. That'll help me. 1062. Yeah, no, this is right. 548. Yeah, this is the problem. It's not easy. 1062, 960, 970. So it's actually gone up a little bit. All right, so 1064 is the 605. That's 990, and it was 930. So yeah, the ridership's gone up on some of these PM trains. So again, that's because more and more people are choosing the Babylon branch in it because it has better service, and that just goes to show you what I'm saying about better service. It gets better, it gets more riders. All right. Let's see here. I mean, again, you're gonna have to pause it, or if you want to look for all these trains, exact specific trains. Yeah. Oh yeah, I gotta do this. All right. Yeah, whatever. So you can see the comparison here. All right, we're on Come on, this is where I want to see what's going on here. Some of these are really packed Ronkonkoma trains. And Ronkonkoma, at least they get 5 flyers. All right, let's see, 1110, it's 2013, train 2013, and let's see, 1140. So ridership's gone up on those two. You can see it definitely has. 2021, 1080. Well, some of them is yeah, 1080 went from 1080 to 1150. So you can see, yeah, trains get more crowded. Obviously, not enough service on the Ronkonkoma branch, obviously, and that's why they have so many trains that are above service standards. Now we go to the eastbound. Notice how many less trains there are to begin with here on the Ronkonkoma branch. Again, hopefully you can see this. Jeez, this program just kind of stinks. Try my best. Yeah, see the ridership's gone up on a lot of these. 451. Let's see, some of this train's ridiculous. It's 2072, 1200, 1220. Oh my God, that's crazy. 1310 or 2078 went from 1310 to 1250. It's gone down a little bit because people got tired of being jammed up. Again, some of them went to the Babylon branch. And these are the Greenport numbers. Greenport's gone down a little. Greenport doesn't carry many people, unfortunately. But again, that's because the service sucks. All right, Huntington. I'm not going to go over all of these. I'm just going over to show you the main branches here. All right, because I'm just curious to show you how the ridership has changed. All right, let's see some of these trains there. 659 out of Westbury. That's one of the trains. 800. Let's see. All right, see, I should be looking at the train number 2401, 820. So it's gone up. Some of these trains here. 729. That's one of. This is the only flyer that we get here in Westbury. Huntington only gets 4 flyers, and we only get 1 right here in Westbury. Carries 1050 now, and back then it carried 940. So ridership's up. People want the flyers. Too many trains stop at Jamaica. I think more trains need to skip Jamaica. All right, another train. Let's see, 625 carried 820, and now it carries 900. So yeah, ridership's going up a lot more on the Huntington line than on the Babylon line. I think you can pretty much see that, which pretty much reflects what I've been seeing here. Look at the eastbound. And I'm going to end it here after this one, all right, because I can't show you everything. You know, it's just going to make for too long of a video. All right, so some trains here in the evening rush are ridiculously crowded going to Huntington. 6:08 p.m. train 1734 carried 1080 people. Actually, it maxed out at 1240, and that train's gone down to 1200 actually. Pardon me, I have allergies that are terrible, and the weather is very hot, and it's just bothering me a lot. Hey, that rhymes. Another train that's packed, 656. Excuse me, there again. 656 carries 1100 in 2012, and that's gone up to 1160. And the 722 carries 970. Max is out at 970, and maxed out at 920. So, and the 754 carried 910. These are all west of Jamaica numbers, peak, and that's go up to 960. So, yeah, 842 train. I want you to notice that carries 1140 in 2012, and now it goes up to 1130. Oh boy, I'm sorry about this. And there's an 822 train right now, and that added that train. It's still only carrying 270 people, so it needs to be more advertised that there's an 822 local to Hicksville, but I think it needs to go all the way to Huntington. And I'm going to end this. We'll look at some bar charts while I sneeze my head off. Okay, actually I realized that I didn't finish the data. Yes. So, alright, we're going to just, this is comparing Port Jefferson again. 2012 is on the left, 2015 is on the right. I'm just going to scroll through this really quick. Compare them. There. Alright, now Port Washington. There's been a lot of gains in ridership on the Port Washington branch. Just go through this real quick, alright, because I can't cover every single little thing here. But for those who may not have a PDF reader, you want the data and compare, go ahead and compare it. Alright. See some comparisons here. I can't get it even. But you could just look there. Pause the video, whatever you want to do with it. And Long Beach. Alright, Long Beach. I'm kind of curious about some of these Long Beach numbers. Yeah, trains don't carry a whole lot of people, as you can see. A lot of them connecting trains that actually get a lot more crowded west of Jamaica. They can be pretty crowded, but most of the crowding is west of Jamaica. Yeah, very few flyers. Long Beach service is pretty abysmal. It makes the service here in Westbury look great. That's how bad it is, all right? It's eastbound. You only get 2 flyers. Actually, they did add a flyer. Yeah, they added a train. I know they did restore a train that they cut. I know they did do that, or one of them was made a flyer. I'm not sure. I can't even figure it out looking at this. So, Hempstead branch next. Pair there. They get 2 flyers each. Hempstead branch kind of stinks too, but it's somewhat better than the Long Beach branch. Again. Alright, so go to this. Far Rockaway. Again, you compare. Far Rockaway's gained some ridership. I think maybe you have some people also slightly better than the Long Beach branch. I think the Far Rockaway branch definitely is better than the Long Beach branch in a lot of ways, actually. In some ways. But I know that outside of the rush hours, it's mostly Atlantic service, so you have to change at Jamaica. And that could probably hurt ridership numbers a bit. Oyster Bay. Alright. See, Oyster Bay's increasing ridership. I'm kind of curious about certain trains here. Westbound trains, 630. Yeah, let's take a look at the 552. It used to carry 190 in 2012. And now it carries 160. Oh, it's gone down? That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense at all. I guess it has. Alright. Eastbound, some of these numbers may have gone up, some of them may have gone down. I mean, I can't spot all the differences. This is West Hempstead, which carries very few people, but has seen an increase in ridership. They've added service on it, and that's why it's seen an increase in ridership. these are the shuttles. West of Jamaica shuttles. Babylon branch weekend. They use different sizes of the tables on each one, so it makes it kind of hard to match everything up. Babylon branch westbound weekend. Eastbound. Montauk trains. Some of these Montauk trains definitely have seen increases in ridership here, and actually on the weekends I want to see. Let's see here. I'm gonna look for the eastbound. Where is 810? All right, yeah, it carries one. That carried 130 east of Jamaica on Saturday, and now it carries 110. Really, it's gone down. But that's because they added a train. Yeah, they don't have that one on here. Interesting. But they did add a train at Summers only. They don't count on here. I know the data isn't complete, really, you know. Konkoma weekends. And Greenport. Look at here. Again. Oh, see the numbers that they don't even have Greenport. Oh, yeah, because... Yeah, all right, we'll just go right to Port Washington then. Right, because Greenport didn't run on the weekends. They cut it, and then they restored it part of the year. Alright, Port Washington westbound. You can just make the comparisons, freeze frame the video, whatever. I mean, I can't, you know, talk about it, notice every change, otherwise it's just going to take me forever to get through this video. Alright, Huntington Branch westbound. Oh, eastbound, see the different, oh man, they may only make it they changed the order of it. Oh, there we go. My mistake. That's your comparison there. 2012 on the left, 2015 on the right. And Huntington eastbound now. You can see there these numbers are. Jefferson Branch. The reason why is you can download the 2015 numbers, but you can't get the 2012 online. I don't think. If I can, I'll get one to you. Alright, so it's changes there. Long Beach. Weekends on the Long Beach branch. Pretty much stayed the same. Some numbers have gone down. Weekends on the Hempstead branch. Weekends on the Far Rockaway branch. And that is going to be it, I think. Nope, not yet. Still got to do weekends on the Oyster Bay branch. Alright, so that's weekends on the Far Rockaway. And weekends on the Oyster Bay. Again, sorry for the... Hopefully you can read this, and I hope this video has been helpful. Now we get to the part that's really means, the part that's probably the most interesting is where I'll review the changes, the actual changes without, so you can, you know, you don't have to look through these tables yourself, because I already did. So we'll get to that next. So now we've come to the last part of this video, which is going to show you the changes that have taken place as far as in charts and, you know, graphs and stuff like that. So first we're going to look at the 3-year change. This is the 3-year change for daily branch travel east of Jamaica from 2012 to 2015. And surprisingly, the Babylon branch has actually gained the most riders. Surprisingly, but maybe not surprisingly, because they do get the best service. More and more people fed up with the main line have been driving in the Babylon branch, and that's why we had that bit to do a little bit earlier this year with the people down there complaining about the parking and the town of Hempstead, you know, putting the parking permits in and all that other stuff to try to keep these other people out. So that would explain it. But ridership gains have been all over the system, more or less, for daily branch travel. You know, after the Babylon would be Ronkonkoma. Ronkonkoma has seen huge increases, mostly in the off-peak hours. And we've also seen a lot of increases on the Port Washington branch. and a lot of that's due to service improvements there, or service restorations, and then the Huntington branch as well. And these other branches have also seen small increases. Surprisingly, the Oyster Bay really gets a surprisingly large amount, considering, but that is because of Nice Bus, because of the N27 is, not. Let me just make this a little larger. The N27 is, not reliable. The Nice Bus doesn't run as often, and a lot of people have now said, screw it, we're going to take the train to Mineola and then take a bus from there, because it is faster than taking the N27, especially when you have a service that used to run every half an hour that now only runs once an hour. And you lost riders when you did that. Nice. And, Nice doesn't figure that out, though, of course. Now we're going to look at some of the rush hours. All right, AM peak. You can see that there's been big gains on a lot of the branches. Babylon is leading it. So the Babylon trains are busier. There are more people on them. And this is, again, because of the limited service on the Ronkonkoma and Huntington, which have also seen gains. But then those trains get more crowded. And, let's face it, if you're living in a place like, say, East Meadow, and that is in the town of Hempstead, you're probably better off driving to the Babylon branch, getting a train over there, and instead of going to Hicksville or Westbury, and dealing with a more crowded train and a more limited schedule. So that's the AM peak. You can see there's been increases here. And, pretty much Babylon leads, then Ronkonkoma, then Huntington, then Port Washington, Hempstead. A lot of lease branches seen gains, small gains. I was surprised. I thought Montauk would have seen more gains. Port Jefferson's seen gains too in the AM peak. But what's interesting is when we go to the PM peak, what happens? The PM peak has seen decreases in some areas. What was surprising is, yes, the Babylon branch has seen a big gain in the PM peak. That was kind of surprising. The Port Washington branch has seen the biggest gain in the PM peak. And Huntington's seen a gain too. And a lot of these areas have seen trains have seen gains. Again, Oyster Bay has seen gains. But look at Ronkonkoma, 70. It went down by an average of 70 passengers, which is kind of surprising because it seems to me the Ronkonkoma trains are more crowded than ever. That could be due to shifting ridership earlier. It could also be due to, again, people fed up with the service on the Ronkonkoma line, now going to Babylon and the Babylon branch and using that train because it's more comfortable, it's less crowded, it's smoother ride, and it's safer in a lot of ways. I mean, the parking lots on the Ronkonkoma branch, particularly Deer Park, there have been problems with vandalism and stuff. So I know from somebody who told me. So it's possible some people get fed up and going to the Babylon branch. However, in Babylon, the village lot, you got to be a village resident. However, they do have a private lot that anyone can pay for. So people are doing that because again, they're fed up with the crappy service on the main line. Who can blame them? Again, service quality and service levels are reflect ridership. And if your service sucks, then the ridership isn't going to increase. People, you can see by and large, people want the Babylon branch, and they also want the Port Washington branch. Those are the two best branches that are out there. Now I want to look at the weekends. Saturday, Babylon branch has seen gains. Ronkonkoma has seen gains, not as large. Huntington has seen gains. And again, on the weekends, anyone could park at a lot of these Babylon branch stations. So they're going to go to the Babylon branch. I don't blame you. You get a train every half an hour. Why the hell would you wait for an hourly train in Ronkonkoma that's more prone to delays on the Ronkonkoma branch in Deer Park or wherever? And the same thing goes for the main line in Westbury and stuff. However, Hicksville and Mineola do have quite a bit of trains to choose from. 3 an hour, all right, at Hicksville and Mineola each. So that's pretty decent. Westbury, obviously, mostly once an hour and kind of sucks. But look at the gain on the Port Washington. That is due to the fact that in 2012, the MTA had reduced weekend and off-peak service in the Port Washington, very foolishly under that Walder guy, I think that's his name. And they lost a lot of riders because of it. Now that they've brought back the half-hourly service, they've gained a lot of riders. And this goes ahead. This goes to show you when you cut service, you lose riders. Service cuts do not save money. All right, this is proof of that right here because you lose ridership when you cut service. Something Nice Bus should take note of, by the way. All right, so you can see here that the branches that have lost riders, and there are a number of them here on Saturdays, the Hempstead branch, the Long Beach branch, and even the Port Jeff on weekends. Port Jeff is like every 90 minutes. It's every 90 minutes, and then you got to connect to a Huntington train. It's a long ride, and people would rather take the Ronkonkoma branch or even drive to the Babylon branch because of that. Hempstead branch service, it stinks on the weekends. It doesn't even, you have to change. None of them go to Penn, so you have to change at Jamaica, which isn't the worst thing. But again, Hempstead branch, once an hour, not great service levels. It's not going to really get riders. The Long Beach branch also has seen a decrease. Long Beach branch service is a lot to be desired, but you also have a decline in the people going to Long Beach ever since Sandy. Sandy has really hurt Long Beach hard. Far Rockaway's seen gains again. It shows you the Far Rockaway branch has somewhat better service than Long Beach, despite the fact that all the Far Rockaway trains off hours go to Atlantic. Montauk's definitely seen gains on Saturday, no surprise there. And the West Hempstead, which had service cut and now has restored to a shuttle to Valley Stream, they've seen some riders. So again, I think it paid to add that service back. And Oyster Bay branch has also seen some rider gains as well. And now we're going to go to Sunday. Sunday, same thing here again. Port Washington has seen a huge gain in the riders on Sundays. Huge, because that half-hourly service was restored. Now imagine if they had half-hourly service in Westbury. It probably would improve ridership at Westbury. And if they had more service at Ronkonkoma, it would improve ridership there, and then the ridership would go up because they improve service. All right? That's why you got to improve service. Babylon hasn't really, the four major branches, Babylon has not seen as much of an increase on Sundays. Hempstead has seen a slight decrease, and Long Beach, wow. That really shows you what's going on with Long Beach right now. I don't know if Long Beach is struggling. I don't really know that much about the economy there, but they've seen a large decrease in the ridership there on Sundays. And of course, partially due to the crappy service, but I suspect it has to do with several factors, including the fact that Long Beach charges you to get on the beach. If you just take the train and walk over, you got to get like a beach badge, or that stupid beach badge thing. They have that going on in New Jersey. Beaches should be free. Charge for parking, but let people go onto the beach for free. This encourages people to use mass transit. Long Beach should understand that, but Long Beach, it's a big moneymaker for Long Beach, but they're hurting themselves, and I think that's part of it. And then you have the Sandy effects from Sandy, of course. Far Rockaway, 370 gain, and most of these have gained, but then look at the Port Jeff, too. They gained, too. They lost, I'm sorry, they lost riders again. People are tired of the Port Jefferson service on the weekends, I guess. I mean, some ways I think it's better, traveling out east from here on the weekends because you don't have the gaps in service. However, as you can see by ridership, people aren't really liking the Port Jeff branch too much. And maybe, I don't know how we are short diesel equipment, so I can't say expand it. But maybe this is why the cars get shifted from the Port Jeff branch to the Montauk branch, because that's where the ridership has gone up. And the Oyster Bay branch has gone up slightly as well, very slightly, as you can see. So that's what it looks like from that. Now, we're going to go ahead and look at this one. Trains exceeding 90% full, and you shouldn't really be surprised about this because the most crowded branch is the Ronkonkoma branch, followed by the Huntington branch, followed by the Port Jefferson branch, followed by the Babylon. The Babylon has the least amount of crowding of the four major branches. They only have 3 trains exceeding 90% full, whereas the Ronkonkoma has 9 trains exceeding 90% full on weekdays. So this really is no surprise, but I'm kind of surprised at some of these other trains like Long Beach, Hempstead, and there's even a West Hempstead in there, 2 trains. And that's because some of those West Hempstead trains have connections to other trains from, I think they go to, so one of them goes from Penn and one of them goes from Atlantic. So they have connections, so people are getting off the train at Jamaica and transferring to other trains, and then after Jamaica, on the eastbound, it gets gets quieter, and then same thing east of Jamaica, it's quieter going in as well. Port Jefferson has a train that's overcrowded, believe it or not. and Hempstead has one, and Montauk doesn't have any, which is surprising because I think some of those weekend trains would be. But again, these are trains that are regularly, averaged out over time. I'd like to see by the season to see how those Montauk trains are. Even the Illinois Bay train has a train that's over 90% full. Again, a lot of this has to do with car length. The Port West Hempstead trains aren't that long. The longest trains generally are on the Babylon branch, so of course. The Babylon branch has it easy compared to they have the easiest of the four major branches. And this bar chart pretty much shows that it's not perfect, but, again, people want the Babylon branch. That's the bottom line. They want the Babylon branch. It's got the best service, the best schedule, and the smoothest ride, the best stations, and, it's more and more in demand. And this information just pretty much backs that up. But you have the best service. I mean, if I had to say which branch you want on this chart here, if you had to choose between Huntington, Ronkonkoma, Babylon, or Port Washington, I'd say Babylon because it has the least amount of crowding. I don't want to be crowded. Nobody does. So that's why the service on the Huntington and Ronkonkoma, and maybe even the Port Washington, need to be improved. But again, service improvements on the Huntington and Ronkonkoma branches, at least, are contingent on the mainline third track. Can't add any more trains right now. This is why we need the third track. Otherwise, the current pattern will continue. And what can I tell you? All right, the last thing I want to look at is LIRR passenger, per train changes. Meaning, have the trains gotten more crowded? Have they gotten more? You saw some of that in the other chart here. But now we're going to see that we've seen increases. The trains are generally more crowded. The only branch that isn't more crowded is the Long Beach branch, which has seen a lot of ridership going away. And I think a lot of the ridership going away has something to do with Sandy, but it also has to do with the crappy schedule. People are getting tired of dealing with the crappy service in Long Beach, and some of them will travel to the Babylon branch and pick up a train there. Problem is, since the town of Hempstead put the permit thing in, it makes it harder for people on that branch to get, particularly in the city of Long Beach and the village of Island Park, because they're not unincorporated part of the town of Hempstead. They can't get the permits to park at places like Merrick and Belmore and Baldwin and things like that. So it makes it harder. But some of them still choose. There's still some free parking. They'll park far away. The Long Beach branch is that bad. It's not very good at all, and there is no reason at all why the service can't be improved on the Long Beach branch. As you can see, Long Island Railroad, your crappy Long Beach branch service has an effect on your passenger ridership numbers. People don't want to deal with crappy service. All right, and as you can see here, the biggest increase in the AM peak, most crowded. Most trains have gotten much more crowded on the Ronkonkoma branch, more than any other branch. That was followed by the Huntington branch, and then followed by the Babylon branch. So the Babylon branch actually is a little more crowded. Has a little more crowded. It's gotten more crowded. The crowding has increased there more than it has on the Port Washington branch, which is kind of interesting. And look at the Oyster Bay, too. Yeah, it's gone up, too. Because, again, nice but sucks. More and more people are opting for the train in Glen Cove. Now let's look at the PM. PM. We've had huge increases in the PM peak ridership on Port Washington. Oh, I'm sorry. That's not the passengers per train. That's my mistake. All right. Passengers per train, PM peak. Again, well, that reflects here. You've seen here, huge increase on the Port Washington. That leads it. PM is completely different, which is weird. Huntington's seen gains, but Ronkonkoma has gone down a little bit, and Babylon has now. That reflects what I have seen, is that those PM peak trains in the Babylon branch are seeing lower ridership numbers. That's down 17, average of 17 people. But the biggest increase obviously be the Port Washington, and it's been an increase on the Port Jefferson, decrease on the Montauk, decrease on the Long Beach. So you're seeing a lot of decreases on the South Shore, and I can't say for sure because those increases don't really correspond to the morning. People may be going back after rush hour. They may be going back before rush hour. I'm not sure about that. I think people may be just trying to leave earlier. That's what I think is going on. A lot of people on the Babylon branch in particular, I've heard that they just like they leave early. They leave work early. And so, that's something to think about when the Long Island Railroad puts together its schedules. Maybe it needs to shift a little more service earlier in the rush hour. Earlier, or maybe even before the rush hour, or maybe even change the times for the peak trains. So I think that is our last chart for this video. I know it's been a little long, but it gives you some ideas of some of the changes going on in the railroad. So these are the charts here. AM peak again, passenger per train. You can see it looks completely different than PM. It's very interesting, isn't it? That's for sure. So yeah, it's pretty interesting. But that is just about it. I'm going to leave you with this right here. So again, this chart pretty much shows where is service needed. Service is needed mostly. We need more Ronkonkoma trains, and we need more Huntington trains, and we need more Port Washington trains. Babylon, maybe even a little bit of Babylon too. You have to look at some of the crowding over there and maybe see what can be done. But by far, the Ronkonkoma line and the Huntington line are yearning for more service. They are not getting enough service. And the third track, this is why we need to build that third track. All right. All the people who are against it obviously don't ride the train, because if you're a commuter on the main line, the Huntington line, or the Ronkonkoma line, there aren't enough trains. Anyway, thank you for watching. Take it easy.